to a meeting in Chicago, I took a longer route than necessary in order to see as much and as many friends as I could. My first 2 stops were at Chimney Rock and Scotts Bluff in Nebraska. Then on to the Elk Mountain Campground in the Black Hills of South Dakota. Leaving the campground, I encountered a herd of about 50 bison crossing the road at the campground gate. I waited patiently. I had learned the day before that it was this herd that was featured in the movie Dancing with Wolves some years back. There were bison families with babies. Some of the bulls were really big. What a joy, this chance encounter. On my way to see Woodstock classmate Randy Gross and his wife Susan, I stopped by Crazy Horse and the newly renovated entrance to Mount Rushmore. It was a beautiful day. It was early, so the crowds were not too big. In the theater, we learned a bit about how the faces were fashioned. It is all pretty amazing. Then on to the Badlands National Park, where the temperature that day was 106. I found the formations and the landscapes to be beautiful. I had not seen Randy and Susan since our class reunion at Abbotsford, British Columbia in 2002. It was my first time to visit their home near Elkton, South Dakota. That night we went to a nearby town for a rooftop polka concert.
Everybody's doing a brand new dance now. Come on, baby, do the polka motion.
Oh, what a lot of fun. The next day, I got a complete tour of their Ash Grove Dairy.
My great-grandfather homesteaded 50 or 60 miles west of here at the original Ash Grove Dairy back in 1885 and started with the dairy business shortly after that.
Currently, they milk nearly 2,000 cows a day. Counting babies born each day and cows too young to milk, they have around 3,000 cows. On the average, their milking cows give 2,500 gallons of milk a day. It was most interesting learning about where our milk comes from. The Ash Grove Dairy is a family farm and a family operation. It was great to see it. Randy got out the 4 Whispering Pine yearbooks from the 4 years he attended Woodstock School in India. We had a great time going through them page by page, remembering students, teachers, and sharing stories. Then Randy got out a box of Woodstock memorabilia. The 50-year-old incense had lost its scent, as had the beardies, which are Indian cigarettes. We went out into his garage to spin his top. I'm glad we did not video our embarrassing attempts. We were not like John Mark Blosser, who at one of our reunions had spun the top in his hand on the very first try. Randy said there was an Air India welcome statue at each of our place settings at our graduation banquet. I had forgotten that. On Sunday morning, Randy dusted off his slide projector and showed the half-frame slides he had taken while at Woodstock.
That looks like the back of Ken Christie. That may be a Dan Scholler or something. And I don't remember the occasion. And then Gordy Van Ruy and me and Mark Wagner. And then
Steve Schoonmaker.
And the far right, I can't
Is that David Garst?
Yeah, that's Dave Garst, I think. And then next row.
We had great fun making out schoolmates and remembering happy times. After attending church on Sunday morning, Randy's son, Randy, and his family came by the house for lunch. It is son Randy and his wife Jennifer who currently run the Ash Grove Dairy. I spent the next night with Woodstock classmate Suzanne Barr Dumont and her husband Rob in Sauk Rapids, Michigan. Suzanne cooked up a delicious frittata breakfast, which we enjoyed outside. Then it was on to India Palace in Minneapolis, where I had lunch with classmate Dale Howard. That night I visited Paula Whiteside Holmes and her husband Ted. Paula and Ted had visited India with Sally and me in 2017. And Paula was a part of our campus ministry program at the University of Missouri in the early 80s. In Hudson, Wisconsin, I spent the night with my cousin Nancy and her husband Pete. After a fun visit and a delicious frittata breakfast, I headed to my Chicago destination for a meeting of the Louisiana Christian Medical College Board. But first I enjoyed a night in the home of Lucy Wilson Dorenfeld and her husband Jim. I had packed a whole lot into my trip to Chicago and had a lot of fun along the way.